listening to theoutdoorstation.co.uk. It's a podcast. It's a magazine. No, it's a podzine.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Podzine, dated the 29th of October 2007. Yes, the Podzine is the audio magazine show for outdoors people everywhere. And I hope you've had a good week this last week. A week ago I was over in Coventry having a weekend with some bushcraft people. And that was quite interesting, spending a weekend in the wood, chatting about wood type things and eating very, very well actually. They do seem to eat a lot better than some backpackers. Anyway, just want to rush on. Thanks very much indeed to everyone who's been dropping me a line from all parts of the industry and listeners as well. So thanks very much for the feedback. In fact, I'm getting so much now, I think I'm going to be starting a feedback page on the Outdoor Station website. So if you do want to drop me a line with any comments, suggestions, thoughts or whatever, I would appreciate it. And I can add it to that page and people can see the type of people that are listening and what they're getting from these podzines and podcasts generally. And that email address is info@theoutdoorstation.co.uk, info@theoutdoorstation.co.uk. Regular visitors to the website will notice that I've started an outdoor links page. So what I'd like to do is gather together as many interesting websites in one area so that if people are bored during a lunch break or a coffee break or whatever, they can go to one place and see countless bloggers, outdoor bloggers from around the world, magazines, photography sites, places of interest and so on. Nobody seems to have done it as yet, so I've started to gather that. So if you are part of a group or a club of some kind, or you run an area or a campsite that you would like to let people know about, then do drop me a line to the same email address, which is info@theoutdoorstation.co.uk with your web link, and I'll add it to the list. So what have we got coming up on the show? Well, today we've got a chat with Darren King from Lifesaver Systems. This regarding a new Lifesaver bottle, which could completely revolutionise drinking questionable water in far-off places. And I put it to practice and actually drank river water straight out of the river, as it were. So that's quite an interesting interview, and one I think which will be of interest to long-distance travellers to distant, far-off places, as I say. We're also catching up with Jonathan Cassidy from Alto. Regular listeners will know that I interviewed him 12 months ago at the Harrogate Trade Fair, where he was just starting the business, and he does ethical clothing, which is manufactured overseas, and we thought we'd just catch up with him and see how the last 12 months has been for him. Plus, of course, we've got our ever-popular competition to win a £20 Moppel. What is a £20 Moppel? That is a Moppel valued at £20, not weight. Well, it's a gizmo, and it's a gizmo that all the gizmo websites are talking about at the moment. So more of that later. And of course, we've got our What's On diary as well. So we shall be checking out what's available around the UK, and I've just been hunting for various places and various things to see what we can find. But first of all, why don't we have a little bit of a gossip? Yeah, I thought I'd have a hunt through some of the trade magazines and trade press and bring you some information from various sources. He says, looking around, having put the bit of paper down, I've lost it. Here it is. So, yeah, I thought I'd just get you up to date with some of the things that are being said in the industry over the last month or so, which may be affecting us all, actually, in one shape or form. In particular, the Outdoor News magazine, which is the one produced by the European Outdoor Group, has got a nice article, or a very interesting article, should I say, about China. The Chinese are very successful at selling services and products from China, but in another intelligent move, they're now looking at bringing production local to the customer as part of the Chinese government going out policy, the way of encouraging Chinese companies to be closer to the customer. and therefore Chinese investors are proposing a new manufacturing hub in the UK's northwest. Discussions have already taken place and agreements have been signed between Chinamex, a state-owned body which helps Chinese companies expand overseas, a property developer, Commercial Group Properties plc, and Wigan Municipal Borough Council. Wigan, of course, had probably their last cotton mill closed down, 30-odd years ago? But this is all being planned about 15 miles from Manchester, apparently. Chinamex already have similar projects running in Dubai to service the Middle East and South Africa, with plans to implement another in Americas. So, yes, as they say, they're taking over the world and they're coming to us now. That'll be interesting. Another one from Trade and Industry Extra, which is a KSA business publication, about London tourist trails. Apparently they've all been mapped on a selection of 14 maps and developed with the London Cycle Campaign. They are a double-sided hard-wearing and contain a wealth of information about 4,000 kilometres of routes all throughout London and the area. This includes the London Cycle Network Plus set of signed routes for cyclists across the capital, the National Cycle Network, and routes through parks and along canal towpaths. The easy-to-use maps help cyclists to identify quicker and quieter routes whenever they want to travel in the capital, and that's quite interesting. So people who are living down in the city, in the smoke, might want to pick those up, and you can get more information from tfl.gov.uk/cycling. That's tfl.gov.uk/cycling. That's quite interesting. In the same trade magazine, we've also got a note from Sustrans. People might not be aware of who Sustrans are. They're a charity, and it's Sustainable Transport is what it stands for. Basically, it's the National Cycling Network. And despite what the Department of Transport may want us to believe, independent personal travel is on the up. People from all walks of life are making great use of safe routes. The Sustainable Transport charity Sustrans has no doubt that the numbers of bike trips made on the National Cycle Network shows once again the rising popularity of bike, and adds that foot traffic is increasing too. Walkers simply love the Sustrans trails. The figures say that in 2006, Sustrans recorded 338 million walking and cycle journeys on the National Cycle Network, 106 more million trips than were reported the previous year. So basically it adds up to, they say, 927,000 trips per day, and that's close to a third of all journeys made on the UK's rail network each day, which I think is quite interesting. Anyway, Sustrans is as I say, it's a charity and it receives no government or lottery funding. They spend a staggering £1.3 million each year looking after the 323 miles of National Cycle Network. And if you want to get involved as regards offering your services to help with maintenance work, or find out more about them and see what information they can help you with if you're a cyclist, you can get that information on sustrans.org.uk. sustrans.org.uk. A bit of product news that's I thought was quite interesting to flag up, because these things are happening in more and more regularly now for women. And Sunto has released a new watch called the Sunto Lumi, designed for women who enjoy an active lifestyle. Designed to be the first outdoor instrument of its kind, the Lumi combines altimeter, barometer and compass functions with new benefits including sunrise and sunset, a personal day counter, an intuitive user interface and a menu in 4 languages, just in case you forget which language you're talking when you wake up in the mornings. It's also, as you would expect for the female market, it comes with a variety of different colours and patterns on the straps to make it easy to fit one's current mood, so the press release says. And it also has a carabiner jacket as well, so it's protected against rough handling and can be attached anywhere. And it's got a light and all the various other bits and bobs you would expect. Certainly what you would expect for around the £200 mark. So whoever the Sunto dealers are near you, pop along and have a look at there and see if you can make the woman in your life very happy. And another one that has come from a different trade magazine, which is OCC Outdoor, which is the monthly trade magazine. They did an interesting review. What is the top 10 most aggravating things about customers? So if you're listening to this in a shop, pay attention. Apparently the most aggravating thing is the fact that you're wasting the shop assistant's time. The second most irritating thing is body odour and unwashed feet. So, of course, I do hope that if you've just come off the hill somewhere, up in Betsy Coyd or round the lakes, you have taken your boots off and washed your feet before entering the shop. The third most annoying thing is eating in the shop. Well, I can understand that. Bits of food all over the stuff. It's not very pleasant, is it? And slagging off the gear is the other one. We all do it, myself included. And then one of the most popular things that people love to hate is people talking on their mobile phones while they're trying to talk to them and so on. And then the final thing is not keeping control of your kids. That is the top 6 most aggravating things about customers. It was a top 10, but they gathered them all together. Anyway, so that's the gossip over. That's the introduction over. Let's now get into the first interview. The Podzine. Recently I met Darren King from Lifesaver Systems at a trade show where he was showing off the new Lifesaver Moppel, which is a pretty revolutionary water filtration system by the looks of it. So naturally I asked him first of all how the product came about.
The inventor Michael Pritchard, he saw the tsunami and he saw the number of people who, having survived the event, were subsequently dying through waterborne diseases. Thought something ought to be done. Then he subsequently saw Hurricane Katrina and thought, well, this is a first world country, America can surely sort this one out. But no, again, there were big problems with water supplies and getting people clean water. And he looked at technology that he was already aware of and decided to miniaturise it and put it into an all-in-one personal water filtration bottle.
Well, I know this product is very, very new, only a few weeks old, you were telling me.
It was launched about 3 weeks ago, a big military show down at London Excel. And the response was absolutely fantastic. The British Army are very, very interested in it and are already testing it. Mike Pritchard's flying off to America to have meetings with the Pentagon. We've got deals with Australia, Libya. Yeah, it's just fantastic. The take-up has been amazing.
Could you just describe the actual product to me for people that are obviously listening to this that haven't actually seen it?
Right. The bottle itself is about 300 ml high and about 90 ml in diameter. It holds 750 millilitres of water. Empty, it weighs about 630 grams. And it's the world's first all-in-one ultrafiltration bottle.
And I suppose to give somebody a comparison to visualise that, it's about the size of a domestic thermos flask, isn't it?
Yeah, a sort of medium-sized thermos flask. That's pretty good.
Okay. Well, would you like to sort of talk me through the demonstration for it then, please?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about the differences between this and other systems. Most other water filtration systems that are on the market at the moment use either a ceramic filter or an iodine resin column, or sometimes a combination of both. Now, a ceramic filter is going to be filtering down to about 200 nanometers. Right? Now that means that the smallest bacteria are still getting through, and also most viruses are still getting through. And that's why all of these systems require post-filtration treatment of the water with either Steritabs or iodine tablets or drops or whatever. Okay? The Lifesaver bottle is different in that it filters down to 15 nanometers. Okay, now given that the smallest virus is only 25 nanometers, it means that we're stopping everything. It's just a good old-fashioned mechanical physical barrier. The holes in the filter are too small for anything to get through.
And what sort of viruses are we talking about?
Well, I mean, the three classifications of organism that will make people ill are parasites, bacteria and viruses. And that covers everything from Giardia, Cryptosporidium, E. coli, poliovirus, hepatitis, all of these things. None of these organisms are going to get through the Lifesaver bottle filter.
Brilliant. Okay. So how do you use it in practice?
Very, very simple to use. You unscrew the base. Okay. And we've got a little pre-filter in here, so if you were scooping water up out of a muddy puddle, you can stop twigs and leaves and frogs and fish and things going into it.
You've got some river water there, I see.
This is this is nice grubby silty river water from the River Purwell in Hertfordshire, near where I live.
Okay, I can say that certainly
you can barely see through that.
Filthy.
Right. Lovely. You don't want to drink that.
I wouldn't want to drink that. No.
Okay. Well, let's pour it into the Lifesaver bottle. Let's pour it into the bottom there. Take the base, screw the base back on. Okay. Get your glass. Open the lid. Open the drinking teat. And then all we do, we just put a few strokes on the pump in the base. And what that does, that pressurises the water enough to force it through the filter at a rate of about 2 litres per minute.
And that is pure, clean water.
That is probably some of the cleanest water you'll ever drink in your life. You notice I said you have ever drunk in your life?
Okay.
Because I am going to get you to test this as well. I'll go first.
Okay, well I'll sniff it to see if there's any taint. There's no obvious taint to that. And yes, that is. In fact, you could bottle that and sell it, couldn't you?
You could. I mean, it tastes like soft water. Yeah. If you live in a hard water area, you'll notice it doesn't taste the same as hard water. But like I say, it's probably the cleanest water you've ever drunk in your life.
Absolutely. Well, I'll certainly vouch for that. Now, capacities and all that sort of things. What's it capable of?
The bottle holds 750 millilitres, okay? But what you've got to remember is when you're out in the field, because you can now scavenge water from almost any puddle in the bottom of a tyre track or muddy pond or stagnant pool, you don't necessarily need to carry this thing completely full. So it weighs 630 grams. You might normally only have 200 or 300 grams of water in it. So you're talking about an all-in-one water bottle and filtration system weighing about a kilo in normal use. There's a filter cartridge in there which will filter, well, there's two versions. One will filter 4,000 litres and one will filter 6,000 litres. So we're talking either 4 or 6 tonnes of water before you need to change the main filter.
And of course, 4,000 bottles, plastic bottles, is environmentally much friendlier, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a big problem in places like Africa and India at the moment. There are just piles and piles of plastic bottles building up because they've got no infrastructure for recycling them. So yes, absolutely, the footprint of a Lifesaver bottle compared with 4,000 1-litre plastic bottles is very, very small indeed.
Yeah, indeed. And I gather the filter itself is recyclable?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and so when are you going to know then that it is full? Because that's one of the big criticisms of various filtration systems, is you're not too sure when it stops working.
Right, okay. A typical ceramic filter will degrade with use, okay? So the more you use it, effectively the bigger the pore size gets. And that's a problem because it means it's letting more and more muck through. Also, if you've got an iodine column in there, you need to monitor the amount of water that's gone through it to ensure that it's still being effective. And ultimately, you've got no way of knowing by looking at the water that's come through whether or not everything's gone. With a Lifesaver bottle, the filter works in a very different way. What will happen about 90% of the way through the life of the cartridge, the flow rate will start to decrease slightly. When it gets to a point where it's unacceptable, you change the cartridge. If you were to carry on, however, what will eventually happen is it will just stop. It will shut down. It won't ever allow you to get contaminated water through the drinking end.
So right up to the point that it stops, it is still performing correctly?
Absolutely. Anything that comes out of it will always be completely safe.
And so what's the marketplace? Obviously the military must be jumping all over this, as you quite rightly say, but I mean presumably the domestic user, the traveller, the gap year person that's going to dubious countries with dubious water, where do you see this product going? Well,
all of those markets, absolutely. Even families going off on nice family holidays to Africa or Egypt or something to see the sights. They can't really rely on the quality of water coming out the taps. And rather than relying on bottled water and buying bottled water whilst they're out there, they can take one Lifesaver bottle between them, and they'll know that every single member of that party is going to enjoy the holiday to the full, rather than perhaps spending 3 or 4 days of it on the toilet.
Yeah. So that's would certainly spoil the holiday, wouldn't it? And of course, the final question has to be how to get hold of it, and the actual bottom line, the retail price of these.
The retail price is £229, including VAT, for the 4,000 litre version. You can look on our website, lifesaversystems.com. You can order it direct, or there will shortly be a list of approved retailers on there as well.
And for people that want the replacement cartridges, the replacement filters to go in, what sort of price are they going to be?
The 4,000 litre replacement cartridge retails about £79, including VAT. And again, they're available off the website.
But 4,000 litres is an awful lot of water, isn't it?
It is. I mean, if you're drinking your nominal 5 litres a day, then a Lifesaver bottle will last you for over 2 years before you need to replace that cartridge.
And I believe you're working on another model which is turning water into wine.
We've had this joke. Yes, that's when we were expecting numbers to significantly increase. You can turn red wine into rosé, but whether or not that's a desirable conversion would be up to the listener to decide.
I thought now's the time to do a review, as we normally do each week. We've been trying to rotate it, do something a bit different, and we've done magazines, and we've done a couple of books, and today I'm going to do a couple of websites. I thought for something a bit different. And I've just randomly chosen 2 off the Outdoors Station list of associated links, outdoor links and so on, to give you an idea of some of the things that are there and what fun that they can be. The one I hit on straight away, just because I like the title of the website, is Can I Eat It? .co.uk, and obviously it being sort of the autumnal time of year, it tends to cross my mind that I live in the outdoors, live in the woods out around here. There must be something I can eat. So anything with a title like that tends to attract my attention. So can I eat it? So you click on that, and what do you get? Well, actually, you get a really fun website. It has to be said, it's definitely fun, and it's one for the boys and for the girls. The guy who's put it together, I understand, is Jimmy. I don't know whereabouts he's based or any more than that. He just assigns himself as Jimmy, and he's basically split the website into 2 areas. One area is based on the garden, planting seeds and watching them die. What can I grow in a tiny garden with nothing more than neglect? And the other section is chocolate. Follow my research as I try every bar of chocolate, and I can find by fair means or foul. So clicking on the chocolate first to please our female listeners, because I'm sure they would love to have a place where they're all lined up with a tasting test. He's actually suffered for his art and eaten 64 different types of chocolate bars so far. And sure enough, they're all listed here. All with their little logos and graphics and so on. And you just click on one. I'll click on one randomly. Waitrose Organic Swiss Milk Chocolate. Let's see what he says about that. Waitrose Swiss Organic Supermarket own brand. Pushing the organic fair trade tags to the limit. It's a bit of a doing my bit for the world thing. But as chocolate goes, it has more taste than any other supermarket own brands, but lacks a real signature. And it tells you it comes from Switzerland, it weighs 100 grams, it's got 25% of cocoa solids to 14% of milk solids, it's suitable for vegetarian, and it may contain nuts. There you go. What more could somebody want? Certainly females want when they want their chocolate and a little bit of a discerning sight. And when you click into the other section, the gardening section, it's quite interesting. He's sort of it's a blog style sort of thing, and he's grown various things sort of randomly in a sort of a fairly, and it is well kept, but sort of an unkept garden really. And let's sort of read you the opening paragraph. Okay, what's it all about then? What set me, a generally non-garden type person, into this most avid gardener? I wish I knew. Must be something to do with the water. Last year I had a bit of a competition with a friend. We would see what we could grow and eat in a typical small garden using what was available and only using seeds. We had plans to use discarded shopping trolleys for potatoes, old paint pots for herbs, and plastic milk bottles for sweet peppers. It was a half-hearted attempt, except for the potatoes and peppers that actually grew. And so it goes on. It's actually great fun. There's an email link there. You can drop them a line to tell them what you think. But if you're wanting a little bit of inspiration or ideas what you can do in a small garden, as well as what actually you can and can't eat, it's an ideal little website. So, as I say, the web address is canieatit.co.uk, and congratulations to Jimmy for that. The second one we're going to have a look at is, I didn't actually realise it existed. It's wildaboutbritain.co.uk, and it is the British Wildlife and Environmental Charities, the official website for that, and I didn't realise there was an official charity, so I found that quite interesting. Again, I just randomly picked them off the list there. What does it got? Well, it's actually quite generally broad brush for people interested in the outdoors. It's got a bit of news about various funding things that are going on. For example, Somerset Wildlife Trust, the county's leading environmental and conservation charity, has received a grant of almost £18,000 from Biff Award for its project to protect the greater horseshoe bat in Harwich Woods. Okay, that's a little bit of news, but what else has it got? What have we got? We've got a billboard, a green billboard, building a sustainable future in timber, climate change notes, tree council walk in the woods, free garden mammal guide, the London whale. And then there's broken into subsections of insect news, wildlife news, environmental news, bird news, astronomy, mammals, plants, tourism, weather, water life and reptile. If you're into the outdoors, it's a nice magazine, really, to peruse through. Plenty in here for all sorts of interests. And most importantly, like most of these sites these days, it's actually got a fairly healthy forum. And looking at the sort of numbers they've got on the forums, they've got a reasonable amount of people contributing and sharing stories and topics and asking questions and so on. And again, just randomly dipping in, we've got something about campaigns and petitions, various meetings and events, something about tree houses. Then you go into the subsections of, there's the fungi forum. I must have a look at that one, actually. British birds, astronomy, insects, mammals, reptiles, weather, etc., etc., etc. Then you're into energy, waste and pollution and so on. A thunderingly good read, actually. So I'd suggest to people, if they're bored one evening, or as I say, over lunch at work perhaps, and you've got access to the internet, have a quick look at that. And that is wildaboutbritain.co.uk. So let's now get into our second interview with Jonathan Cassidy. I met him about a year ago at Harrogate Trade Fair, just as he started El Alto. So we thought we would catch up with him and see how the new business is going, and exactly how the last 12 months have been for El Alto.
Well, we're here at the Outdoor Trade Show a year on from last time we met you, and we've been working in three different areas, basically. The online side, our own website, corporate branded gear, and then obviously the retail stores, which we're trying to get a bit more profile in there. As a new brand, in the retail stores, that's something that's moving a little bit slower than others, but there is interest coming up a bit more. We've expanded our range this year. We've had another 3 products, which is actually 25% more to the actual range. So having that extra flexibility and extra sort of variety is something that it seems to have given a lot more interest to the retailers. On the online shop and also the branded corporate gear, that's something that has become very popular. The companies very much appreciate the opportunity to associate themselves to an ethical background, and no matter what their background is, whether they're ethically based themselves or if they're not, it's something that is of appeal to a pretty wide cross section of organisations.
The getting into the retail market and getting into retail stores is obviously going to be difficult because there are a lot of companies now with a lot of products. But in particular, when I met you 12 months ago, and as you've just mentioned again, it's the ethical part of the work that you do and where the products are produced and how the relationship works, which I'm sure people would like to know a little bit more information about, and obviously where they can find out more.
Of course. El Alto is the name of the shanty town on the outskirts of La Paz in Bolivia, where the factory is based. The factory itself is a cooperative which is owned by the local people there. Ourselves here in the UK, we purchase the items per item off them, and so as and when hopefully the company expands, so will the benefits across the board be shared. On top of that aspect of the organisation, a percentage of turnover also goes to environmental and social projects in Bolivia. So it's that association which many people, organisations, retailers and companies are attracted to. It's being associated to something like that. Every product that somebody buys, they'll find that is associated with a certain worker which has worked on perhaps that item or that range of items, and so there's a real tangibility to the actual the experience and the contribution that somebody's making, as well as buying a good piece of quality gear.
That's one thing I was going to say, is that the gear is, people shouldn't assume that this is inferior clothing or equipment in any shape or form. This is very nice clothing, very well made, and very technical materials.
Yes, absolutely. It's a hard-wearing polyester. As I said, it's based in El Alto in La Paz, which is right in the heart of the Andes Mountains. What better place to test out the gear itself, and any excuse we have to go and test this gear out on the Andes, we obviously take full advantage of it. And it works very well. It works very, very well. The workmanship of the guys in Bolivia is very, very good. The design side of things we had to bring in from Europe, from Sweden, to make sure that the actual fit and the comfort was something that worked within a market over here in the UK and the rest of Europe. But the combination of the two skill backgrounds has made some really good quality pieces of gear.
Absolutely. In actual fact, in reality, you did say that the factory over in La Paz there, how big is it to the infrastructure of the village? What does it actually mean, this business, to them?
As a proportion to the town, to the district itself, it's a very small area. El Alto is actually 1 million people, so this is just a very, very small start to begin with. We're working with 12 people in there. As time is going on, we're training more people, we're giving more people opportunities to learn the skills, so that, as again I've been saying before, as and when hopefully the company expands, there is the capacity to be able to provide the extra goods and provide the extra opportunities for people in the area.
Have they been pleased themselves with the last 12 months?
Absolutely delighted. They've been learning the importance of deadlines. Obviously, in Latin America, deadlines are obviously taken with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Not that we want to change the ethos and the culture of the people over there, but getting a balance where they can, they still live the way that they want and should live, but also understanding the fact that when working in a European market, there's certain things that you have to take into account. But it's become a good family unit, and it's grown, and we've learnt together.
Let's now move on to the actual products themselves, and tell me a few details about those, and also where people can get hold of more information.
No problem at all. All of our clothes, there are men's and women's versions, men's and women's cuts. We've got, which we've had for a couple of years now, a 100-weight fleece top with a thumb loop and a quarter-length zip. The retail price is £35. As well as that, some of our more popular items are our fleece gilets and jackets. These are slightly more heavy wearing, maybe 200 weight. The gilets retail at £35 and the jackets at £45. Some new products to this year. We've now brought in a fleece hooded top, beautiful, light but really, really warm fleece material. That's retailing at £35, and also a thermal base layer, which is very, very comfortable, very, very warm, wicking garment, I guess you'd call it, which retails, I believe, as it's new, I think it's £25.
It looks a lovely piece, though.
No, we're very, very pleased with it. The material's lovely, and it's very, very well made, very lightweight, very compact and very comfortable. And then beyond the fleece gear, we've also started stocking T-shirts, organic cotton T-shirts. The organic cotton comes from Peru, neighbouring country, and those are retailing at £20.
Wonderful. And just to top it off, literally, you have some headwear and some neck fleeces as well?
That's correct, yes. Hats, scarves, balaclavas, and some fleece trousers as well. Obviously not headwear, but some of the other items that we have. All in all, we've got it's about a dozen different items, and so it's a simple range, but quite a varied one.
And you're also keeping the colours quite sensible as well, going for the muted colours and keeping it practical to build from, presumably.
Precisely, yeah. Blues, greys, and blacks at the moment. Garish yellows and reds and the like may come in time, but yeah, non-intrusive colours for the countryside and the environment are the ones that we're sticking with at the moment.
Brilliant. So final question then is, where can people find more information?
On our website, which is elalto.co.uk.
So what's happening soon in the great outdoors? The Podzine Diary.
Yes, indeed, the Great Outdoors Diary. Well, we have been hunting around the internet to see what's been going on, and as always, try and have a rich, varied list of what's going on with the diary, which you've enjoyed over the last few weeks. This time it seems to be all fairly north in the country, but hopefully of interest. First of all, up in Northamptonshire, there is a dry stone walling workshop, which I think would be quite an interesting thing to attend. Sort of the Warwickshire area. A one-day practical instruction with Trevor Alcock for both beginners and those with some experience. Ample time to discuss any aspect of dry stone walling that interests you. Booking is essential. To reserve your place at this free event, please telephone 01926 318 280 or email warwickshire@fwag.org.uk. And it's funded in partnership with the Rockingham Forest Trust and supported by the Heritage Lottery Fund. So I think that would be quite interesting. So that's on Saturday the 3rd of November at Manor Farm, Tixover, Stamford. It starts at 10 o'clock and finishes at 4. And as I say, that's a free dry stone walling workshop, which I think would be fascinating to see how it all goes together properly, actually. The rest of them I've got, majority seem to be sort of north of the border or in the borders region. We've got one on the same weekend, 3rd of November, called Cool Kites. Historic Scotland Ranger Service up in Edinburgh is organising a make and fly your own kite in Holyrood Park, and the meeting place is at Holyrood Park Education Centre in Edinburgh. Starting at 1 o'clock, finishing at 3. Outdoor clothing useful, suitable for all ages except under 8s by the looks of it, and it looks like it'd be whizzo fun. Make your own kite and fly it. So you could relive your childhood and become a kid again. I think it'd be great fun. The website for the organisation is historic-scotland.gov.uk/ranger service, and the email is hs.rangers@scotland.gsi.gov.uk. So that'd be good fun, and that's free, of course. The next one is, well, why not? A bit of basket weaving and log kindling baskets, apparently. Organised by the Four Winds Inspiration Centre, and it's an intermediate class for those of you with 3 or 4 round baskets under your belt. Time to try something a bit bigger. Just think of the lump of having baskets stuck under your belt. But anyway, once again up in Edinburgh, Four Winds at Inverleith Park. Warm clothes suggested, and bring a packed lunch, 10:30 to 5 o'clock. It's going to cost you £45 plus materials, and it's certainly suitable for adults only. So if you're interested in more organic and you want to produce some things around the house for Christmas perhaps, then have a look at that one. Contact details are that's the letters for four-winds.org.uk, and the email address is info@four-winds.org.uk. So that's that's the 3rd of November as well. Moving on to the 4th of November, the Southern Upland Way. There's a walk taking place from Lauder to Melrose, organised by the Scottish Borders Council Ranger Service, following the Southern Upland Way between the double dykes in the footsteps of our ancestors on this ancient route. A chance to see a variety of wildlife and views of the Scottish borders. Distance of 9 miles, with a total climb of 175 metres and free return transport provided. Obviously stout shoes, waterproofs, packed lunch, etc. Start time 10 o'clock, finish around 4. Cost for adults is £4.50, children free, and concessions £2. So that is on the 4th of November and suitable for over 16s. Moving on, we have... this will be quite useful for people. A map and compass course, or series of courses actually, for people. A popular 2-day course designed for beginners and people requiring a refresher. Again in the Edinburgh area. So let me give you the dates first. That's the 10th, 11th, the 17th, 18th, and the 24th, 25th of November. The meeting at the Pentland Hills Regional Park HQ at Boghall Farm, Bigger Road, Edinburgh. There's no specific time mentioned. It is a £40 cost and suitable for adults only, and the contact details are pentlands.enquiry@edinburgh.gov.uk, and the website is pentlandhills.org. And there's a telephone number here of 0131 445 3383, and as I say, that's over the next 3 weekends. Useful map and compass courses. What else we got? Moving further on, 16th of November, we have the Autumn or Winter Wander, organised by the Hopetown House Ranger Service, again near Edinburgh at South Queensferry. With climate change facing us all, who can tell whether we are still in autumn or whether winter has spread into the woodlands? Whatever the season, this is a great chance to see Hopetown after the grounds have closed for the season. Start time 10:30, finish at 12, so it's a morning job, only £1 each, and suitable for all ages. Contact Ranger at hopetownhouse.com. That's HOPETOUN house.com, and the website is same name, hopetownhouse.com. Now that same weekend there's also a coincidental 2 social events being organised by different forums. The Trail Meet number 3, the 3rd big trail meet organised by the Trail magazine, which is can be found on the Country Walking website, and Outdoors Magic, which is outdoorsmagic.com. They've both coincidentally organised a big social get-together of like-minded people who obviously spend a lot of time on the forums at the same weekend, Friday the 16th to Sunday the 18th of November, and both in exactly the same spot. That is the National Trust campsite at Langdale. So I'm sure there'll be absolutely no problems at all. Doesn't matter which particular forum you support. That looks like it'd be a good scream. And looking at the listing so far on the trail listing, there's a good 20, 25, best part of 30 people there, including Graham Thompson. So I'm sure he'll be badgered day and night about gear. And the Outdoors Magic group, I think there's a good 20 or so of that going as well. So if you want to see what people get up to that actually join these forums, then that is the place to go. So it's the National Trust Web's campsite at Langdale on the 16th, 17th and 18th of November. And I'm sure there'll be lots of things on the forums after that get together. Perhaps they could organise a football match and have a friendly one. Trail versus OM. What else have we got? We've done that one. Let's go on to the last one now, which is halfway between Newcastle and Dundee. The Whooplaw Community Woodlands are organising a path edging on the one day, the 25th of November. Meeting at the log cabin at Big Wood Whooplaw, 4 miles southeast of Lauder and 3.5 miles from Stowe. Start time at 11 o'clock. Not too sure how long it's going to go. Obviously you need stout outdoor clothing, gloves and footwear. There's no cost involved. Suitable for 8-year-olds plus, but they all must be accompanied by an adult naturally, and that is to replace the wooden edging on the All Ability Path network at Whooplaw. So if you're at a loose end and you want to contribute and do something for the outdoors, there's a nice one to do. You can get more information from whooplaw.org.uk. That's www.org.uk, and the email address is info@whooplaw.org.uk as well. And that wraps up the handful of items that I've found this week.
The Podzine Diary.
Well, we've overrun a bit. I do apologise. I'm trying to keep these shows around the 40-minute mark, and I see we've gone over 40 minutes, so I'll be fairly brief with this and our competition. First of all, I want to congratulate the 2 winners last week of the Ronald Turnbull books, The Riddle of Sphinx Rock and 10 Tours, 3 Peaks, 10 Tours. The first people out of the hat were Gillian Smith from Huddersfield and West Yorkshire, and John Turner up in Fife, Dunfermline and Fife there. So congratulations to you both. You should both have your books now, and I hope you're enjoying those. We're changing the competition format slightly to make it fairer, because people are winning, we're entering and winning fairly quickly, as was the original intention, but it's not fair for people to catch up with the shows perhaps later on. These shows do get launched first thing on Monday morning around 6 a.m, and what we're going to do is keep the competition entry open up until 5 p.m. on the Thursday. So in this case, you can enter this competition anytime between the 29th of October and the end of work, shall we say, on Thursday the 1st of November, and your name will go into a hat, and I shall draw the name out of the hat on the next show. So what is the competition? Well, we have in our presence a Moppel, M-O-P-P-E-L. Type that into the search engine and have a look. And it is a Starhopper light. Basically, it is a character, I suppose you'd call it. It's a little LED light on it, and it runs off either batteries or a USB socket. And basically, this sort of animated man will stick to your screen or hang over the top of your computer or be on the desk or whatever, and it gives out a load of light for you to read with or just have a bit of fun with, really. But basically, the character's head you twist and turn into any particular direction, and the arms you can create different shapes with. So it's a little animal thing, It's great fun. I mean, it may sound a bit daft, but it's great fun. It's not for anything practical at all, apart from just being whizzo fun. And it's about the £20 mark you'll see on various gizmo sites. So have a look round, you'll see what they're like. There's a whole family of them. But we have been given one to give away. Thanks very much indeed. So your chance to win a £20 Moppel Starlight. Basically, it, as I say, it all clings to smooth surfaces. It's got little suckers that you can put on its feet, so it'll suck to glass and whatever else. And it's got magnets on the feet as well, so it'll just stick to the fridge side, if you like, for that matter, or anything metal. It comes with its own power supply and runs off a USB port as well. There's a whole range to collect naturally. What do they do? Well, it gives you about 100 hours worth of light off the 3 AA batteries, which is plenty of reading you might want to do. And as I say, it's just great fun to have in the computer room or in bedroom. And the competition is, tell me please what the letters LED stands for. As I say, it's an LED light, but what do the letters LED stand for? And you can email your answer to Moppel, MOPPEL -competition at theoutdoorstation.co.uk. So that's Moppel -competition, theoutdoorstation.co.uk. And as I say, we'll draw the winner out of the hat next week and get it onto you in very quickly. What am I trying to say? I'm running out of space here. I'm running out of time. Got over 45 minutes. It's terrible. It's coming to an end. It's got to stop. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me. Look forward to catching up with you next week. And that is this week's Podzine. Thanks. Bye-bye.
This independent programme has been brought to you by The Outdoors Station, the exciting new way to see and hear free information about the outdoors world. If you're a blogger, or if you have a website, you can now incorporate any of these podcasts directly to your site, completely free. Visit our website, theoutdoorstation.co.uk, for more information.